What's up everyone, my name is Andrew Fung. Welcome back to part 2 of the Python task automation series where we talked about automatic web scraping with beautifulsoup and also scheduling the tasks to run on a regular basis using CronJobs on Mac. In this video series, I'll be tackling a problem that probably everyone has encountered in their everyday life. So essentially they are on a waitlist. So in my case, it's my college hall application. I didn't manage to get a hall offer. So to my knowledge, this PDF file containing the student ID and their corresponding waitlist positions will be updated on Thursday 5 p.m. every week. So when we click to see the PDF, you can see that the student ID and the corresponding rank, which means the waitlist position. So instead of manually checking on the same website every week and looking through the entire document to find our waitlist positions, of course we want the computer to do all the work for us. So we do that using automated web scraping, which is covered in details in part 1 of this video series. So essentially we built a web scraping task which can fetch the positions and the link of the PDF. And for part 2 of this video, we'll be going through a email notification. So after we got the positions and the link for this information, we can actually send us notifications upon the refreshing of the website. This web page will be refreshed and updated every Thursday 5 p.m. So I'll leave 1 hour of buffer time and schedule the cron jobs to run on every Thursday 6 p.m. instead. So just a short recap of the first part of this video. We have successfully identified the href, which is the link of this PDF containing all the essential information using a package called beautifulsoup. So we identified the div elements and then extracted the PDF link. After that, we have parsed the PDF using tabular's read PDF method to identify the positions and also based on the student ID input. So essentially, when you take a look at the output now, we are able to extract the positions of the student and also the link. So when we click a look and check for this student, do Ctrl F and then find this student, we are able to get 728 as output, which is the position. Okay, so let's get started. So let's copy the code that we've written in part 1 of this video. So you guys can check out the link in the description and go on to my GitHub. So click repo and then YouTube. Then you will see a file called the web scraping, which is essentially the code that we've written in part 1. So let's move on to VS Code, and then let's create a new folder. So let's do open, and then I'm inside a random programming folder. So let's create a new folder called CronJob test. Let's do create and then open this directory. So let's first create a new file so that we can paste our Python script inside. So let's save this file, say it as webscraping.py. Let's hit save, and then we have the file. So let's go on to the terminal, hit the terminal, and then do the new terminal. Let's cross this out, and then you should be able to see that the base directory that we're in, so it's inside our CronJob test folder. So let's now go ahead and create a new virtual environment. So you can do that using Python 3. So I'm currently on Python 3. You can do it just simply Python based on your Python version. So -m VNEV, and I would name the virtual environment to be VNEV as well. So now you can see that the VNEV appeared inside our CronJob test folder. So we can activate the virtual environment using source VNEV, which is the virtual environment name, and then bin/activate. Enter. So you can see that we're inside the virtual environment because of the parentheses surrounding the virtual environment name, which is VNEV. So you can make sure by saying which Python, and then you can see that we are inside programming this cronjob test folder and the VNEV. So we're not outside of the using the global Python instead. So we can do a pip3 list to see the packages inside this virtual environment. And okay, so this is the warning saying that our pip is not up to date, but we can just ignore it for now. So let's go ahead and install some packages that we'll be using for this web scraping task to work. So let's do pip3. So install tablet -py request lxml bs4 for beautifulsoup and URL lib3. Let's hit enter, and this will take some time, a few seconds or so, to install the essential packages for this project. Okay, so let's check whether this script runs. So let's do Python 3, and then web scraping. You can do tab, and then web scraping.py. Let's run this and see if we get the output that we want. Ideally, we should get 728 and also the link. So yes, we got the exact output from part 1. Okay, so after we've made sure that the source code from part 1 works and runs in our local machine, we can move on to the next step, which is sending email notifications. So for sending email notifications, we can go on to import some packages, which is import smtp lib, and also from email.message import email message. So these two packages will assist us in sending email notifications to a designated email address. So let's define a send email function that will take in the position and also the link, which is this two. So the position and also the link. And so let's first define the email address to be my email address, which is Fung test@gmail. So this email address will be responsible for sending the email notifications, and the email password. So for Gmail users, your email password can be found inside the account. So let's go on to account, and then security, and you can first enable the two-step verification. So you can check out the video on the top right corner for enabling the two-step verification and allowing app password. So you have to first pass all the two-step verification for your Gmail address, and then you can enable the app password, and then let's sign in first. Then inside app password, you can create a select app, mail, which will be using Gmail, and then device will be Mac. So let's generate, and then you see a new password. So we can just copy this and then paste it here. So you can remove the app password whenever you feel like the passwords have been exposed in public. So I can just delete it here. So let's now go ahead and create a new message. So new email message. Message equals email message. So this is an email message object. And let's specify the subject to be an F string containing your whole wait list. Position is hashtag. So let's do a open bracket for the position, which is the input that we're given, and then the from, message from. So this will be the email address for this message that are sending from, so which will be this one, and the message to. So you have to specify the message that you're sending to, so which will be my school address, which is Kinho Fung AJ at connect.ust.hk, and then message.set content. So this will be the main content of the email message. So we can set it to be an F string as well. So you can find the wait list PDF via the link semicolon and then link, which is here, another input. So after that we will now send the message. So with smtp lib dot smtp underscore ssl smtp dot gmail.com, and the route will be 465 smtp. If that's true, then we will do a smtp.login email address, and then email password. So let's make sure that we've typed everything correctly, and then smtp.send message, which does send message as the name suggests. Okay, so let's call this method send email inside main. So after we're printing out the position and link, we can do send email and the waitlist position and also the link. Okay, so after that we can print email successfully sent. Let's hit save, and then let's do a clear first, and then Python 3 web scraping.py. Let's run this. So we can see that email successfully sent, meaning that we have got the email. So let's click on this, and then you can see that we have successfully got the waitlist position email, and we can find this link inside the email content. Cool. So now what's left is to actually set up the CronJobs so that this task, this fetching the waitlist position and also sending the email notifications task, can be run whenever we desire. So let's import some packages. Let's import OS and import logging. So the reason why I did logging is because we have to make sure that the CronJobs has been successfully run and executed. So when we take a look at the main, Python's main, we've actually executed two functions, which are find waitlist position and also send email. So after we have finished executing these two functions, we printed the statement email successfully sent, as shown here. So if this statement is printed out in the console, it's very safe to say that both of these functions have been executed and without errors. So if anything is stuck inside these two functions, that output statement probably won't be printed in the console, and that's how we tell these two functions are functioning perfectly fine. However, for CronJobs, they're actually running in the backend, so without an interface or a console or a terminal to tell to print these output statements, we're unable to tell whether they have been executed or not. So we do that using a logger. So let me just quickly copy and paste some code for time constraints. And now we can see that we have created a new log called the test log.log. So what it does is essentially whenever the CronJobs get executed, it will print us the time, the level name, which we set the logger to be info, and the message, which we will create later on. And what this logger does is essentially they will tell us when this scheduled task has executed and whether we have successfully fetched the data that we need. So we will call this function using a logger using a function called do logging. And that will take in a message, which will be displayed here. And when we do logger.info, and we can say data successfully fetched, and your whole waitlist position is hashtag the message. Okay, so we can call the do logging here, before we send the email notifications. So we can put this waitlist position inside this function, and let's execute it one more time to see if it works. So let's execute it. Web scraping. As you can see, you saw a test log.log, and you can see that the current time is October 17, 10:51 p.m. and you can see that the data has been successfully fetched and we got a new email. So now let's go ahead and create some CronJobs and see whether the test.log will get updated and whether the tasks will run on the time that we specified. So let's expand the terminal a bit, and we can do Crontab -L. So that will list all the CronJobs inside this directory. So as you can see, we don't have any, so we can go ahead and create one using Crontab -E. So E stands for edit and L stands for list. So we can press I for insert to insert any commands, And for each cron jobs, you have to specify first in time and interval that this job will get executed. So we can go on to crontab.guru to see the cron jobs conventions for the time naming. So as you can tell, if we're executing every minute, that will be 5 stars. So let's test this. For this actual script, we'll be running it every Thursday 6 p.m. So we will change this day in a week to be 4 and change the hour to be 6 p.m. so it's 18. We can change the minutes to be 0, and it will show us the schedule, which is 6 p.m. on every Thursday. So we will copy this later on for the actual script. So we can do 5 stars. We can copy and paste 5 stars, and then the second one will take in the environment, which is this one. So programming, and then inside this folder it's cron job test, and then virtual environment venev.bin.python3. And next we will specify the actual script. So it's, let's say, programming cron job test, and then the script name. So it's web scraping.py. So let's hit escape, and then save this using :WQ and enter. So Visual Studio Code will ask for administration for a computer, and you can click OK. And let's see whether this test log get updated and whether we see an email every minute. So we can actually delete this for fresh start. I've left the program to run for a couple of minutes, and let's check out the test log to see if we have successfully got the outputs that we want. So we got 8 fetches and successful job scheduled to be run every minute. And when we take a look at our inbox, you can see that we got pretty much the emails per minute. As you can see, the program works. So let's change it back to this interval for the schedule expressions for CronJobs. So we can do that going back to the terminal and do Crontab edit, and then we can comment out this using let's go to insert mode by pressing I, and then we can add a hashtag in front of this to comment this cron job out. So we can create a new one, and let's do shift to make it faster, and then let's hit enter, and you can paste in deleting the whole thing, and we can just copy this as well. So it's essentially the same path, and then let's hit escape, :WQ, enter, press OK. So let's wait a bit for 11:08. So let's delete the previous log output, hit save, and then see if it works. So it's now 11:08, and let's see if we get new outputs. So yes, so we got the outputs that we want, and it shows that the cron expression actually works. So that's pretty much it for me for this tutorial. Hope you guys know something new about Python task scheduling with CronJobs on Mac, and also do web scraping using beautifulsoup, so that you don't have to do some manual checking on websites when the computer can do all the heavy work for you. So as mentioned, the source code will all be inside this repo, which is andrewfung/YouTube. You can find all the source code for my previous projects on YouTube, and all the reference links such as the app passwords, which I should delete, and also the Crontabs and this Stack Overflow error that you may encounter will all be in the description. So as always, thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.